Have you ever hired somebody, paid them in full, and then somehow ended up becoming their personal assistant? No, seriously. You give them the job, you agreed on the price, you pay them, and then somehow you are the one making the phone calls, sending them reminders, checking on progress, arranging transportation, buying food, and practically begging them to do the work you already paid for. I don't know if this is just happening to me. I don't know if it's a Tamale thing. And honestly, I don't know if it's an artisan thing. But I need someone to explain it to me, because lately, dealing with some artisans feels less like hiring a professional and more like adopting an adult. The other day, I was talking to a friend who was building a house. The frustration in his voice was almost funny. He told me he had paid a mason to start work on a particular day. The day came, nothing happened. He called, no answer. Later in the evening, the mason returned the call. There was a wedding, he says. The next day, a naming ceremony, he says. The day after, a funeral, he says. The following week, a court case, he says. At this point, my friend wasn't sure whether he had hired a mason or a full-time event attendee. And before anybody gets offended, let me be clear. This is not an attack on artisans. There are incredible hard-working artisans out there. Some are professional, some are punctual, some deliver excellent work. This conversation is about a pattern many people keep talking about, but are often afraid to discuss it openly. Because the moment you bring it up, somebody says you are disrespecting local workers. No, we are discussing professionalism. That's a different conversation. You see, what confuses me is this. If I hire a lawyer, I expect professionalism. If I hire an accountant, I expect professionalism. If I hire a consultant, I expect professionalism. Why does that expectation suddenly become controversial when it comes to artisans? Why is reliability treated like a bonus instead of the minimum requirement? Think about it. How many times have you heard someone say, just keep calling him, just follow him up, just go to the site yourself, just be patient? Why is the customer expected to supervise the person they hired to reduce their stress? Shouldn't it be the other way around? And here's where the conversation gets uncomfortable. Some people are now transporting labor from other regions. Not because they hate local artisans, not because they want to deny anybody work, but because they want peace of mind. That's the part nobody wants to talk about. People are making economic decisions based on reliability. And reliability have value. A lot of value. In fact, in today's economy, reliability might be more valuable than skill. Because what good is skill if nobody can depend on you? Now, before someone says, but there are difficult clients too, I agree. Absolutely. There are clients who delay payments, clients who change plans every day, clients who refuse to provide materials, clients who create unnecessary pressure. Those people exist, but let's not use bad clients to excuse bad service. Both conversations can be true at the same time. You see, what worries me isn't the delays. Human beings are human beings. Emergencies happen. Life happens. What worries me is how normalized it has become. People now expect delays before the work even starts. The expectation is no longer professionalism. The expectation is frustration. And whenever a negative experience becomes predictable, we have a cultural problem, not an individual problem. Because professionalism isn't about perfection. It's about communication. It's about accountability. It's about respect. If you cannot come, say so. If you need more time, say so. If there is a challenge, explain it. Most clients are reasonable people. What frustrates them is uncertainty. What frustrates them is disappearing. What frustrates them is making promises that were never realistic in the first place. And maybe that's the bigger issue. Maybe we have become so comfortable with making promises that we no longer respect the commitment behind them. Now, I know some artisans listening to this are probably saying, not all of us are like that. And you are right. Not all of you are. In fact, the artisans who are professional probably suffer the most because they are constantly grouped together with those who are not. Which raises an interesting question. If professionalism creates more referrals, more trust, more opportunities, and more money, why isn't it becoming the standard? Why do the reliable ones still seem to be the exception instead of the rule? Because at the end of the day, this isn't really about masons. It isn't really about carpenters. It isn't really about plumbers or electricians. It's about something bigger. It's about our relationship with work itself. Do we still believe that doing a good job is enough? Or have we become comfortable doing just enough to get by? And maybe that's the question every profession in our society should be asking itself. Because whether you are an artisan, a business owner, a politician, a teacher, or a content creator, the future belongs to people others can depend on. Now remember the question I asked at the beginning of this video. Have you ever hired somebody, paid them in full, and somehow ended up becoming their personal assistant? Maybe. The real question is this: when did professionalism become optional? And if it continues to be optional, what happens to the industries that depend on it? Think about that, then tell me in the comment section. Is this just a Tamale experience, or is it happening where you are too? And which artisan gives you the biggest headache?